Good afternoon. Welcome to Spotlight on Business with the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce. I'm Janice Wissanan, Membership Director at the Chamber, and today I have a special guest. I have MacKenzie Dreeszen with me. Dreeszen, correct?
Dreeszen, yes.
Dreeszen. All right, I said that right the first time. And she's with Americans for Prosperity. MacKenzie, Americans for Prosperity. Tell me about that.
Well, we do a lot of different things. We're actually a nonprofit, nonpartisan political organization. So our main focus, I would say, would be policies and issues that are going on. And the issues that we focus on are economic issues. We support free market economy, fewer economic regulations, any policies that will promote businesses, especially small businesses, tax reform, and then we do a little bit with education and healthcare as well.
Okay, so I know that after you leave here, you're going to the Capitol. What's going on this afternoon?
I am actually. I'm actually going for an event that my brother is hosting. It's called Bubbles of Love, and what that is it's a parental equality activist group. And so they try to promote awareness of parental alienation and then, trying to make things as fair as possible and do what's best for families after a divorce.
Okay, so back to Americans for Prosperity. So it's a full-time position that you have. Is that
Yes.
correct? And then are you officed here locally?
We are actually, and kind of yes and no, I guess. Our main national office is in Arlington, Virginia, but then we're in 34 states, and in Iowa we have 5 offices right now. The ones we have right now are in Des Moines, Sioux City, Dubuque, Cedar Rapids, and the Quad Cities. And then this next month, we're actually going to be opening an office in Council Bluffs. And by the end of the summer, we're expecting to have an office in Cedar Falls as well.
So on a typical day, what does your day look like as you go through the day? Tell me about that a little bit.
I guess there isn't really such a thing as a typical day.
I didn't figure as much.
Some mornings I'll be at a breakfast event, for a breakfast, either a political breakfast club or the Urbandale Chamber that will start at 7 in the morning. And then maybe I'll have an event at the Capitol, like a committee meeting, or sometimes I'll go to House or Senate legislative sessions. I spend some time in the office, but then also going out and meeting with some of our activists, going out trying to network in the community and meet new potential activists. And then maybe in the evening, I'll go to like a central committee meeting or other political meetings that meet at night.
So you're nonpartisan, correct?
Correct.
All right. So when you are meeting with people, who do you want to get in front of? Do you want to get in front of small businesses, employer? What is it that you're really wanting to focus on getting in front of and getting to know more about and spread your word?
I would definitely say that small businesses are a great one, and those business owners tend to be with us on the issues. A lot of times people who are working in either education or healthcare. I know we actually have quite a few activists who are either homeschooled parents or students who tend to line up with us on the issues. So I would really say anyone who, supports economic freedom.
How do you stay up on the issues?
I read the Des Moines Register a lot. I watch the news on TV. I read articles online throughout the day. We actually have people who work in policy at our organization who also send us weekly legislative updates for what's going on in the National House and Senate.
And then the ABI, the Iowa Association of Business and Industry, I know on Thursdays they send out their legislative update. Does that help you, or are you aware of things that are already going on?
I actually haven't seen those as much, but I would say even just going down to the Capitol and going to legislative sessions or going to House or Senate committee meetings is how I stay informed.
So you stay informed that way. Can the masses stay informed that way? What are some tips for individuals if I wanted to learn more? What are some tips that you could give me to watch for?
Well, I would say anyone can go to the Capitol at any time. People are always welcome in the House and Senate galleries. People can sit in on different meetings of committees. So, like, say, if you wanted to learn more about education, you could go to either a House or Senate Education Committee meeting. If you wanted to learn more about transportation or agriculture, you could go to those committee meetings. But then I think also within your local community, you can talk to your state legislators at any time. Most of them are very open that they'll give you their email or their phone number that you can call or email them if you have questions or if there's an issue that you'd like to learn more about or that you would like to talk about with them. Many of them have legislative forums as well, at least once a month, or they'll travel throughout their district and have legislative forums where people can come in, and it's like a town hall style event where people can ask their questions and then legislators will give them an answer. So I would definitely recommend going to those as much as possible.
I'd like to go back to a little bit about small businesses. So I have heard some statistics that historically small business employees will usually be in line with their employer on their beliefs politically. Have you seen that at all?
For the most part, I would say yes.
So what can you do to educate the employees so they can take a stand and support where they want to be instead of following suit, let's say?
Well, one of the things that we're trying to start this year is called the Grassroots Leadership Academy, and that's part of our foundation program, which is the C3 branch of our organization. And so what that is, the course that we're trying to start here in Iowa, which will hopefully start at the end of July, is a free 6-week course. We have people come in from our national office to lead it. It's about an hour to 2 hours, depending on how many people show up and how many questions there are and what we discuss. But we have different sessions such as impacting your legislator. We just had one this last month as kind of a test run to see how many people would show up, who would be interested. And so in that session, we talked about how exactly to talk to your legislators, how to get a one-on-one meeting with your legislator, who might be some other activists who you could get in contact with who could also go with you to talk to your legislator, or how to use social media to convey your messages, or writing opinions to the editor, because people do pay attention to those.
So a 6 weeks course, is it going to be an evening, during the day? What time are
We're
they
expecting
thinking?
there'll be an evening, probably, a Tuesday or Thursday night maybe.
And then how many individuals can you house where your location is?
At our office right now, our office in Clive is kind of small. So we actually hosted our last event at the Holiday Inn in Urbandale by the interstate. And I'd say we had probably about 30 to 40 people show up. But we are also making plans to expand our office here in Clive.
Are you? So what would be your goal for your July session? How many are you looking to want to participate in that?
I would say minimum, we're looking for at least 15 to 20, but if we can get 40 to 50 people to show up, that would be wonderful.
So if I were interested in learning more about that, where would I go to find out information about those classes?
Well, you can talk to me, of course, but we also have a website, which is americansforprosperity.org/Iowa, and we have an events calendar with all of our monthly events.
And what's a number that they can reach you at?
That would be 319-471-0210.
Excellent. All right. So how did you get started in learning and being interested in politics?
Well, it's actually been kind of a long journey. I went to my first caucus with my parents when I was 16. I was homeschooled, and so in order to teach me about government and civics, my parents thought that it would be a good idea to take me to a caucus. So I went to the caucus with my parents. I got to see how that worked, and that was actually during the 2008 presidential election. And at the caucus, whenever they have the county convention, they choose junior delegates to go to the county convention, and the junior delegates get to have like their own little convention. They get to write a plank to add to the county platform. So I was a junior delegate at that convention, and I kind of got addicted to politics ever since then. So then in 2010, when I was actually old enough to vote, then I not only went to the caucus and voted at the caucus, but I also was a full-fledged delegate to the county convention. I was on the county platform committee, so we got to take all of the planks from the different precincts and write it into one platform for the whole county. And then I was a delegate to the district and state conventions, and I've been going as a delegate to state conventions ever since 2010. And then last summer, I actually got my degree in kinesiology. So I was a personal trainer for a while, but while I was trying to generate clients, I needed a part-time job.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of my friends saw on Facebook that I was looking for a part-time job, and he was working as a field director for the Polk County Republican Party. So I started working as a field director for them, going out doing door knocking, recruiting volunteers, giving volunteers direction so that they could go out and door knock and make phone calls. And then after doing that for about 3 months, then I got a job offer with Americans for Prosperity. They had heard about me through the party, and I've been with them since October.
So are you still using your degree?
I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily using my kinesiology degree professionally. I mean, it's still nice to have just because now I know how to design my own workouts or diet plans.
We need to talk.
I would still say that I use my overall college degree because I went to Cornell College in Mount Vernon, which is a liberal arts school.
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel that when you have that liberal arts education, it makes you more well-rounded. So even if you're not working in the same field that you have your degree in, you're still going to use the skills and information that you picked up from other classes that you took while you were in college.
Let's go back. You said you were homeschooled. Tell me a little bit. Do you have siblings? Where were you homeschooled at? Where are you from?
I do have siblings. I've got 2 older sisters and an older brother. I grew up in Iowa City. We moved there from Northwest Iowa when I was 6. And the reason that my parents decided to homeschool me is because we were moving to Iowa City a month after I would have started kindergarten because my oldest sister was taking treatments for cancer at the University of Iowa hospitals. So my parents didn't want to put me in one school and then have to switch to another one right away. Mm-hmm. And then also my parents were both over-the-road truck drivers at that time. And so I would go with my parents in the truck, and my mom taught me how to read so that I wouldn't get bored. So I already knew how to read at that time too. And my parents had some friends who were homeschooling their children successfully, and so they decided they'd give it a try since my mom had a teaching certificate since she used to be a substitute teacher. And then it was going so well that we kept doing it until I graduated from high school.
Outstanding. So how long have you been in Des Moines then?
I moved to West Des Moines last summer after I graduated from Cornell College. My brother was living in Des Moines at that time, so I lived with him for a little bit, and then my college roommate was looking to move out from her parents' house, and so we ended up getting our own apartment together in West Des Moines.
So this is going to be a loaded question. Are you a reader?
Definitely. I read as much as I can. Unfortunately, I don't have as much free time to read as I would like, but that's actually one of the nice things about my job is that I get to do a lot of research, and so a lot of the reading that I do is for work, but I do read outside of work as much as possible too.
What do you like to read when it's not work?
I actually like what I call fluffy novels. So Jodi Picoult, I just read The Fault in Our Stars recently. Pretty much anything that doesn't make me think too much, since I do a lot of that during the day.
What do you do in your free time?
Reading is definitely something I do. I like to knit. I love to cook and bake, so I'm always trying new recipes. And then I like to sew too.
Now there's one other piece. So you're a part of the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce, yet you're a connector. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
So our connectors, what they do is they are the extending arm of the chamber. The chamber staff, we're a small but mighty staff, yet what we do is we've got connectors. Yes, they used to be called ambassadors, but these connectors, what they do really good is connecting our members with other members that want to do business with. So how long have you been doing the connector gig?
Just for the last month, actually. I went to my first meeting here, a lunch meeting, a few weeks ago, and then we had a social at the Urban Grill this week that I went to also. And then I've also been trying to meet as many new members as possible. So just this last week, I've already had coffee with 3 of our newest members and gotten to know them a little bit.
Wonderful. Well, we certainly appreciate you taking the time and spending time with our new members, because it really does make a difference when our connectors get involved and get those new members engaged right away. You know, you're 3 months into your membership? 3 or
That's
4?
true. And actually, I would say, within my first couple weeks of joining the chamber, I was getting bombarded with emails from the connectors saying, let's meet, let's have coffee. And I really appreciated that because it's really helped me get to know not only the connectors, but also other members of the chamber that as we were talking, they'd find out that I was interested in one thing, and then they'd realize that they knew somebody else who was interested in the same thing. And then we were able to meet up and talk about those things.
Wonderful. So tell us again, how do I learn about that July class?
If you go to our website, which is americansforprosperity.org/Iowa.
And then phone number?
A phone number is 319-471-0210.
Excellent. And it's there's no cost to that?
That's right. So, and food will be provided as well.
Boy,
so
that's a bonus.
last time we had spaghetti and breadsticks and the whole works from Olive Garden. So,
I was going to say, did you cook?
Actually, no, I did. I baked homemade cookies. So there were
Excellent.
also homemade chocolate chip cookies at our last event.
It might be worth to come just for the homemade chocolate chip cookies, in my opinion. Well, thank you so much for being our guest today on
thank
Spotlight
you.
on Business with the Urbandale Chamber. Remember, Tuesdays is special, 9 a.m. every Tuesday. Stop by the chamber office, learn a little bit more. We'll have connectors like MacKenzie there that are helping you get your membership up off the ground and make sure that you're taking advantage of all your new member benefits. Again, I'm Janice Wissanian, Membership Director at the Urbandale Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for joining us today.